Hello everybody, welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for a game of higher or lower. We do this at various junctures during the season. We pick out a point and we say, will your team be higher or will your team be lower at this point? And we're looking at the home straight, round 36. So 10 games to go. Will your team be higher or lower? That is March the 5th. Now, things have been made a little bit complicated, let's just say, by the postponement. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the assumption, rightly or wrongly, that all the games that have been postponed will have been caught up by March the 5th. Now, that may or may not have happened. I'm sure the EFL would like it to have happened. But there may still be a little bit of a lag, especially if teams stay in the FA Cup. But the idea is 10 to go as a basic sample size for everybody. That's what I've calculated the numbers on. And we really want to get your opinion in the comments. As ever, please on this channel, please leave your bias at the door. This is not a love-in for your team. And just because you support them and you hope that they're going to be higher, you say higher. Please have a look at the numbers and get a little bit of objectivity in your view. But I want to hear your view nonetheless. I've painstakingly thumbed over all the statistics, worked out all the opponents and all of that good stuff. So please give it at least 10 seconds thought before just saying higher because it's the team you support. Anyway, what are you going to see? Here is my rationale. So the first thing we need to consider is games, and it's that straightforward because certain teams have got 4 more games to play than the other, and we hope they'll be close to, if not have completed all of those games by March the 5th. Maybe not. We're working on assumption here. There's plenty of assumption here, but one thing we're not going to assume is the form table. So I've looked at the last 10 games. We're essentially looking at the next 10 games, and I'm going to give you a plus or a minus, i.e. has the side's form been better than their league position? Often if you're higher in the form table than you are in the league table, it predicts you're going up. If you're lower in the form table than you are in the league table, vice versa. You get the idea, don't you? What else are you going to see? XG, so chance quality across the season this is, and we're going to look at a plus and minus for that as well. Often, if the XG position is higher than the league position, you can predict a rise up or a rise down. Again, it's hard to predict the future, and we're just using whatever evidence we can get our hands on in the past. Then I have calculated the average position of the opponent coming up, and I have ranked that, so I should be able to tell you 1 to 24 how easy in comparison with the league table in terms of the opponents coming up. For this, Reading and Derby I have done in terms of the real league table, so I haven't included their points deduction. So Derby, in theory, are not the 24th best, most easy opponents in the league. They're, the 14th. I think that's right for that type of analysis, of course. Average opponent form as well. I've done exactly the same thing, but with the form table. Does that make sense? If it does, then at 3.5 minutes into this video, let's get into whether we think teams are going up or teams are going down. At the top of the table, we have got Bournemouth, who have played 25, so they're only 1 game behind schedule. They're 3 ahead of Blackburn, and they are 4 ahead of Fulham, 7 ahead of West Brom on the same amount of games. Fulham have got a couple of games in hand, so fairly an easier one to work out in terms of the effect of the games in hand. It's Fulham they're looking at. In terms of the form, it's not good for Bournemouth. Their form is 13 places, or they're 13 places behind where they are in the league table, in the form table. XG as well, 3 places behind. However, it's an interesting one. You'll always find caveats here. Bournemouth have been better, won their last couple of games, haven't they? Obviously, the previous 8 games in the form table is what's dragging them down. And look at the average opposition and opposition form. Second easiest run, we think, over these games to take us up to the home straight. The average opponent is 15th in the table, 16th if you round it up, and 15th in terms of the form table. So, couple of conflicting bits and bobs there. Obviously, with Bournemouth, they can't get any higher because they're top. They're either going to stay where they are or drop lower. So, a lot depends on Fulham. But get your thoughts in on higher or lower. Maybe I'll wait until I see what I've said about Fulham and looked at their numbers, because that's the thing. And we'll say the same about Blackburn. Let's move on. Get your thoughts based on the numbers, not your bias, on Bournemouth. Second position of Blackburn, they're also one game behind. The form table has them one game higher, i.e. they're the best team in the league over the last 10 games, and they're not the best team in the league over all, 25 games we've played. XG, they're outperforming their XG, we think, by about 4 positions. So taking their chances. And I think Mr. Brereton Diaz might be responsible for a lot of that. It's a little bit different for them in terms of average opponent position and opponent form. Look, in terms of the form, they've got the hardest run up to 10 games to go in the whole division. On average, they play a top 10 team every game, if you do the number crunching, which I have, hopefully correctly. I'm not a statistician. 16, so it changes out a little bit on actual league position. Always difference between the league position and the form table. So I think we've got more arguments than not that Blackburn might be lower with 10 games to go. But hey, they've proved us wrong thus far. And look, if they are keeping it up and they are in the top 2 with 10 places to go, then it'll be hats off for Tony Mowbray and a pretty surprising automatic promotion challenge. Well played, Blackburn, so far, but I think lower possibly. Get your thoughts in the comments. Fulham. So here's the interesting one. So Fulham really are the fly in the ointment for both Bournemouth and Blackburn. They've obviously got a brilliant squad, haven't they, Fulham? And they've got 2 games in hand, a 1-point deficit for Blackburn and a 4-point deficit for Bournemouth. We do need to say I'm recording on Tuesday, 11th of January at 2 p.m. Fulham play tonight. They play Reading. So these numbers, we could be in a very different looking place with possibly Fulham in second in literally 10 hours time. Okay? But at the moment, Fulham are 3 games behind. The form, they're third in the table and they're third in the form table as well. That's the 10-game form table. Obviously, things have eked out since then. I hope that's correct, and I haven't, because they did have a pretty bad run, but hopefully things before that have lumped that up a little bit. Average opponent position, 6th and 7th. So they're going to be facing bottom half teams on average for the next 10 games. Look, I've been fairly consistent with Fulham. I think they've got a great squad. I think they'll come good again after a little bit of an icky run, let's just say. So I'm assuming Fulham are going to be higher. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. In 4th place, we've got West Brom. They are also 1 game behind the 26, but remember 3 of the top 4 are all 1 game behind, so it kind of shakes out in that way, doesn't it? 8 places below in the form table where they are in the league table, so they need a bit of a catch-up. XG, well, we've done West Brom's XG to death. West Brom should have scored 15 goals more according to their XG. It's a ridiculous disparity. They are not taking their chances in the slightest. It looks pretty good in terms of average opponent position. A bottom half team on average. Still 13 teams have got it easier according to my numbers. Form less so. Only 2 teams have got it worse there. So it's a difficult one to call with West Brom because a lot now rests on Daryl DK and whether that one signing closes up the XG gap. If it does, West Brom will be higher. But if things continue the same way and they don't take their chances, they'll either level out or they'll be lower. So it's all about sticking the ball in the back of the net from West Brom. If the rest of the picture stays the same, then that will see them higher, I would have thought. 5th place, QPR, they are 2 games behind. Although in the form charts, they would be 3 positions higher, which is good. XG, sounds like they're doing the penalty boxes quite well. Should be 9 places lower according to Chance Quality. Please, everybody, don't get emotional about XG probability stats. They are what they are. You choose to interpret them how you like. Don't yell at me, okay? Average position of opponents, 13.6, 13.5 in the form as well. So it looks all right for QPR. All I would say is the challenge above them might be tricky to catch. And the challenge below them, they're coming fast, possibly Middlesbrough, Forest. So it might be a stay where you are. Although for QPR, if they're in 6th place with 10 games to go, I'm sure the Rangers fans will be happy because it's a very viable looking playoff challenge. Let me know your thoughts on that one. Huddersfield have played all 26 games. They're in 6th position. However, their form and their XG shows an overperformance currently of 3 and 2 places. Average opposition position, look at that. That's good. 3rd best in the division. And on average, their opponent is 15th or 15.5 there. Bit different in the form. 12.8, which is kind of halfway up. Huddersfield, I've had down, and Huddersfield fans will laugh, I've had down as overperforming for the longest time. So I think they will be lower, and I'm either going to be right about that, and, we say, okay, it's a regression to the mean, or I'll be wrong, in which case we say, well played Huddersfield, because if they are either maintaining or higher than 6th with 10 games to go, that is outstanding by Carlos Corberan. Get your thoughts in the comments. Middlesbrough, now they are one that we expect big things from. They've been in good form. They're only 1 game behind. Look, form and XG has them above where they are in the table currently by 3 and 4 places respectively. However, opponent positions, well, 20th best and 18th best. And on average, they face a top half side each game now until 10 to go. However, they have Chris Wilder in, and I don't know whether the deal's been done. We think it's going to be done today. Balogun, Connolly come in, and they look like they're having a crack at it. So I'm erring towards higher with Middlesbrough. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Stoke, 2 games behind. Form table, 3 places below. XG 1 above. Injuries are an issue with Stoke with Sutar out. Campbell not quite where he is. Powell is a big miss as well, isn't it? Average opponent position, not bad. 8th and 4th in terms of form. So there's something there in terms of them either maintaining or popping up a place. They're 8th at the moment. I hate to say it, Stoke fans. This traditionally, and particularly last season, is where the drop-off happened. I'm sure they'll find reasons for that, but I'm not entirely sure. I think they'll either maintain or be higher. I don't see them dropping down, but let me know what you think in the comments. 9th place, Forest. Again, another high hopes one with Steve Cooper and his run. They're 1 game behind. Form has got them 3 places higher, but XG has got them 3 places lower. Right slap bang in the middle in terms of opposition form and position. It's a tricky one, this. All of that levels out. Says they're going to stay roughly where they are. They could stay exactly where they are in 9th. But if they replicate those first 15, 16 games, okay, they've lost the last 2 under Cooper, they'll definitely be higher. I might sit on the fence with this one and say maintaining in 9th with 10 to go, and then there's the chance of a playoff charge after that. Let me know what you think in Forest. Lots of things pulling in a different direction. Transfer window as well. They look like, I think it's 3 in already with Cook and the Canadian fullback and Davis as well. So maybe that changes what's happened in the past. I don't know. You tell me in the comments. Coventry in 10th. It's been a bit of a regression for Coventry. They're in 4th for the longest time. They're 3 games behind in terms of the schedule, so they've got time to make up points. They're not in good form. Look, 8 places behind where they are in the league in the form table. Not great. XG, they're apparently exactly where they're supposed to be. Average opponent looks good. 15th place, and the form 14th place. So, do you know what? I think Coventry will either maintain or possibly push up a place on the basis of their opponents. But the trend has got them dropping down. I'm a bit torn on this one. Will the trend continue? There's games to play. I'll go with the games to play in the opponents. I think they're more likely to maintain or be higher. Let me know what you think in the comments. Millwall are in 11th. They're 2 places, or 2 games behind rather. Form is 4. They're 4 minus 4. XG minus 2. So both the form table and the XG does say a slide down from 11th where they are at the moment. Average opponent position here, it's not great. You're looking at top half and top 10 in terms of the opponent form. And will they sell Jed Wallace in the window? I think they might either maintain or drop. I'm not sure about Millwall going higher. 12th, Blackpool. They've played all 26 of their games. However, the form, they're 9 places below in the form table, 5 places below in the XG table. look at that disparity with their opponents in terms of opponent position and opponent form. 17th meets 3rd. So the idea is that Blackpool's opponents coming up to game 36 are improving, and they're lower in the league than they are in the form table. All of that says Blackpool will either maintain or be lower as we go into the second half of the season. I think I'll go with lower. I think they're punching to be in 12th, but they've done really well having come up from League One. There we go. That is part 1 of this video. We will do the bottom half. I'll record it today and we'll put it out tomorrow. Maybe we'll wait for the Reading game to get the numbers completely up to date in terms of the bottom half picture. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on higher or lower or maintaining for those 12 teams. Again, to get those comments really credible and not just emotional, I want my team to be higher, have a really good look at the numbers, have a look at the fixtures, have a look at the form, and you can also throw in injured players. They don't factor in. Transfer window, that doesn't factor into anything I came up with on the numbers either, does it? Let me know what you think, and of course we'll revisit these higher or lowers when we do get 10 games from the end of the season. Lots of moving parts. Give me your thoughts in the comments. Plenty of great ways to interact other than commenting. Please hit that thumb up and do hit subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and I will see you tomorrow for the remainder of this video. Thank you for watching. Over and out.